Hello, everyone. I am so grateful that we have the opportunity to be back. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, not something we wanted, but something we had to do. You all have been keeping up with the journey. But we're here today. Again, we're grateful to be here today. We are entertaining an angel. An angel. We don't always get that chance. So I decided that I wanted to bring one of my angels to this space and have her talk to all of us, give us an opportunity to know why we exist as we do. Please sit back, relax, and help me entertain this angel by the name of Eufaula Frazier. Hopefully you got that, Eufaula Frazier. How are you, Miss Frazier?
I'm fine.
I am so grateful that you're able to be here. So let's just start out with some information that the audience need to know.
Okay.
And I know as pretty as you are, you don't mind me asking you this question. How old are you now?
Well, I'll be 98 years old.
Look at you.
The
And
16th of this month.
I know we did a party for you, I think when you turned maybe 90.
Yeah.
Joyce Davis and Liz Collins and all of us who
Yes,
love you
yes,
dearly,
yes.
we did a party.
Yeah.
So you're here
Now,
to talk about the history of your journey so that everyone will know that we have not forgotten you and you are right here forever. So let me have you start with your journey. Start wherever you want, but I want the whole story. I want you to give me every bit of your journey, please.
you know, my motto on the journey is be there,
Be there.
to be there.
To be there.
And I have been there since 1950
Okay.
with the school system, working with the homes, parents, and staff. So I am so proud for you to give me this opportunity. I told Michelle the other day that the first public school that I really worked with involved with was an elementary school. And it was there at the inauguration of that school I met Mary Clyde Bethune.
My, we got to hear about that.
And so I said, well, now, I said, Mary Clyde Bethune was in the next generation asking me to come to speak. I don't know what to say.
Always you know what to say. Go on. Go on. And from there?
From the first school, I was working with parents of children who were not able at that time to participate. They had the talents and they could do, but at that time, the parents just weren't able to give them an opportunity to build like the children we have today. And I think about that. And this school was out in the suburbs of Dade County, and we call it Brown Sub. Brown Sub was community, and the school was Bethune Elementary School, and it's still there. The building is still there. They're not having classes there, but it's been used for the education center for the community. And we have senior citizens and adult programs still there in that school. And that's Bethune Elementary School in Brownsville. That's the first school that I worked with as organized with the parents. And the next school I had, and I still live in that community, is Glaze-View Elementary School. That's when the first school that I helped to integrate
Mm.
with the children there, and I worked with the parents and children. And you know what a hard time I had as a parent with the first integration with no resource to
No resources.
no resource. We had to take what we had and make what we want.
Love that.
So that was my motto, one of my mottos there.
Yes.
Be there.
Be there.
Take what you have and make what you want.
And you're still doing it.
Yeah.
You're still doing it.
Mhm.
So from there, I know you have a long history. Did you not have a supermarket, a store of some kind?
A social store.
Did you have a store?
Oh, yeah, I had a store.
Okay.
It was in Brownsville. The building's still there. In fact, I have my building, and I tied in, but the education experience I had, I have a place that come from that story was a story that led to one of the first principals of Booker T. Washington High School. And then I have another one, part connected with the story, was, you know, when the George was fighting, they had George Farmer.
Yes.
Well, the house that my daughter lives in now is George Farmer's first cousin's house.
And I think everyone is aware of who George Foreman.
Yeah.
That's the man who.
Was boxer, Joe Louis.
Yes. Okay. He
Was Joe Louis
a
one of
boxer.
the pioneers here.
Okay.
And then that was my there's three parts of education in Dade County that I will always remember.
Okay.
And that's Bethune-Cookman Elementary School, this house that
You had Glade View.
no, not Gladesview, wasn't
Okay.
Gladesview, the house that I had.
Okay. Okay.
And it came to me from a school board teacher at Northwestern High School.
Okay.
She was a real estate salesperson too. And the storm, you know what the storm did to
Yes.
the Miami
Yes.
in '80. And so one day I was involved in the activity. I say activities
Okay.
of the storm, and one of the forerunners for people in the Liberty City in Brownsville to help them to try to overcome the disasters and the problem they were having from the storm. And in that, we in this had in the community Carrie Meeks.
Oh, you want to talk about Carrie?
Yeah.
Go on then. Talk about her.
Carrie Meeks was one of the first leaders
Yes.
that stuck with the community and was not afraid to be there with us.
Yes, our Congresswoman.
And so Carrie and I, not me, but with the other groups, went over town, we called it then, to try to help those families throughout the Raton area to do help. Yeah. And they had an airplane, and the airplane put tear gas on us. We was out there.
What
and
were you doing?
we weren't doing anything but trying to help the people. And if more than 3 or 4 people met together, they say we was causing disturbance.
Yeah, that's a saying.
And that we was one of the groups that they targeted us. I don't know if they targeted us because of Carrie or because of us. But
Because of you.
they targeted us there with in this route. And so during this disturbance, they had somebody called me. They will always call me.
I know.
And at the courthouse, the new courthouse downtown, they was building it there. And they say, Eufaula, you know what? They finna turn over some police cars down here, and we want you to be there. And I said, oh, well, I grabbed my children, put them in the car. We were going to be in. And just as we got there, entering that parking lot, those people who was routing was just getting ready to turn over a police car. And we left. I left there and ran on back to Brownsville, Liberty City. And so a couple of days afterwards, a reporter came by. His name was Bill GB from the Miami newspaper,
Okay.
Dade. And Bill GB did a story on me and my children, and they said that I say, be there.
Be there.
And we were there, and so that's how I met this person that gave me the leadership and the ability and worked with me for 2 years in a house for my children to help to rebuild the Brownsville. And she was she was a teacher at Northwestern High School. And I won't call her name now.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You and I have known each other for years, but the one thing I want you to share with our children is the thought of, as you say, being there, but being involved. How young do you think we should be talking to our children about being involved? We don't want to go into name calling or groups, but what would you say to our children now? Because you have done an awful lot, but we have children now who just don't seem to understand that they're the next generation, and they're just going to have to push all of us up and out. What would you tell them their responsibility is, the children?
To be there and be involved. To be there and be involved.
How can they be involved? What do you think?
Well, whatever the test may be, they need to be there. Even the babies can be there. You can take the little babies. They take babies, little babies. I was looking at a picture the other day where they was showing where a baby, an infant, was I say call them leadership, and that baby had a bottle, and he was using drinking milk out of that bottle, that little baby. And the baby saw something else that he wanted to call his attention.
Yes.
And he threw that bottle down and ran over there to wherever it was.
To be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Having said that, I know from my experience with you and my talking to you all through my life and through this position that I hold and others that I've held, what would you say to anyone who wants to come into this arena? You have, I think, sat in conventions and all for years. I want to curtail some of the conversation, but I want you to talk about all of the presidents that you have met and how many.
Oh my goodness, I met most every president from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was the very first president that I remember, and my father, my mother, and friends, their friends, would sit us by the fireside at night and talk about President Roosevelt. And I remember he is the very first president that I know my family was involved in. My brother, on the program he had there, the CCAA, my brother was in one of Roosevelt's first poverty programs. And from that program, he went into World War II. And from World War II, my family was involved. My brothers, I had 3 brothers there, and one of my brothers just passed about this month, would be a year ago, and he was one of the 5th soldiers that lived, and he died. And he was one of the 5th soldiers of World War II.
So you've got a long history.
Yeah.
But before I switch to something else, what is so important that I must talk to you about is model cities.
Yeah.
You were so involved in that. Let the audience know, and of course this is for the children, to hear about being involved and being engaged. Talk about model cities.
Well, let me tell you about Model City.
Okay.
Model City, I was out there, as I say, with Brown Sub, and they was just getting ready to redo Old Town, and the graveyard was out there. And so they would always refer to Model City, that place out there behind the graveyard.
Okay.
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 Okay. So the Model City, the way I got involved in Model City, well, I said be there. The bus, this was terrible. And if you traveled on the bus, you had to wait, look like forever, to get for the bus to come. So I on 27th Avenue and 62nd Street, I was waiting on that bus, and there was a young woman there. She was young, and she was waiting on that bus. So we started talking, and she said that she had just got out there, and she didn't know why her husband would bring her out there in these woods. So we just had a conversation, and so as we talked, I got information from her. She told me that she came from Washington, D.C. Her husband was working at the airport. It wasn't the airport then, but he was working for the government. And she and her family came down there with him. And she said, you know, what her role was there, she came with her husband, and they were going to be one of the builders of Miami for a poverty program that would provide jobs and everything for the poor people. And she said that, and we talked and talked, and she said, they go build an organization here, and they sent me here to be one of the organizers for the board, to organize a board. And I said, yeah. So she said, I want you to come on every Monday. We have a meeting. I said, I want you to come. I said, because we've got to get the community involved. And guess who this lady was? She was, what's her name? The president. They got
Assassinated?
JFK. He was JFK.
Okay.
JFK's brother-in-law, mother's housekeeper.
You remember all of that. All of that.
And so she started talking, and she was the one that brought me from the bus bench, I said be there, to a little meeting that grew up now to be the largest poverty program in America. For America.
You have such history,
Yeah.
and I did not want to leave anything out.
Mm.
I do want you to talk a little bit about how you see yourself. What is your legacy? What would you want people to remember about Eufaula Frazier?
Well, I want them to remember, and the children is the one that
Yes.
says this to me. They say, "I want to be like Miss Frazier."
Yes, we all do, because your integrity.
I was somewhere at
Yes.
a meeting at Miller Dawkins' funeral, and somebody said to me, "Oh," the lady came to me and she said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you." So my girls all just loved you. She said that they say they want to be like me.
And you have a right to be loved. You mentioned someone that we all were very fond of. That was Miller Dawkins. Nancy, we called her. She's another earth angel. Has sat in that same chair where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she would be happy to know that you mentioned Miller.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
How do you spend your days now? What do you do?
I do now.
Yeah, what do you do now?
I don't do anything. Just sit in rocking chair.
You do what you want to do.
Do what I want to do.
So we've got all of these wonderful memories. How do you feel about sitting here today telling of your memories?
Well, I just don't know. It's the idea of being here. And my story is, I wrote a little book.
Okay.
It's a story that says, the road has been rough
Oh.
and tough, but I want to be there. And I was being honored about 3 years ago by a group of seniors. And but one thing about it, before I was at that meeting, I, trying to think about what was going to happen. And one thing that I say, I was wondering who was going to be the young leaders of today, but to lead this generation through the country and continued what we had. And I couldn't think of not one. And so at that meeting, where they was honoring me, when I walked in the door, and I said, I see the leader, one of them.
And you found that leader.
I found that leader.
And who was that, so we can find that leader?
Monstein.
Well, he did become a commissioner.
Yeah.
But he's terming out now.
Yeah, but he was a person made great contribution.
So who do you see now? Because Commissioner Monstein is terming
Yeah,
out.
well, I don't.
You don't see anyone?
I don't. I'm not involved enough
Okay.
to really to
Well,
say.
you and I have to talk
Yeah, we'll
more
talk
about that.
Yeah, about the leadership.
Because we have to build what I call a bench.
Yeah, we got to build that bench.
Yes.
And give them a path, a trail to go on. Because things are going down. Generations are past, and things are changing. So,
Yeah.
so if you don't have somebody to develop leadership, I say develop leadership
Yes.
for this young people to go on with.
Well, we'll continue to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that you have set the stage for a lot of us. Your house has always been open to me and others to come and get your wisdom and your knowledge. I could not let this opportunity pass without having the opportunity, as I said, without having a conversation with Eufaula Frazier.
Mrs. Mindingall, I
Yes.
thank you. And I want to tell you, you is I would say, the second leader in Miami, coming from Liberty City
Liberty City.
and Brown Sugar
Right.
to be able to pull the leadership together and make a strong path for us to travel through, for them to travel through.
But we're going to keep going because I know exactly how to get to the house. We will pull together some snacks. As you know, we won't call the names, but I called someone while you were in the car coming over. We picked you up and brought you here. They will hear from you, more from you, because you have so much to give.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, and I'm going to take you to lunch after this.
Oh, well.
So I appreciate you, and I hope everyone will continue to watch the journey. Our angel today, our earth angel today, is Miss Eufaula Frazier. Watch us, subscribe to us, and tell your story. Talk about your journey. This has been Dr. Dorothy Bendross-Mindingall speaking to you about the journey of Mrs. Eufaula Frazier. God bless you, and I'll see you on the journey.